Hey guys, we're gonna make a another video. It actually all fits in with these. Again, the content on this channel is law enforcement, security, investigations, anything in this realm. It's not always just private investigations. My whole background encompasses all of these, so therefore, I consider myself a subject matter expert on these areas and have spent a century on them. So therefore, I like to talk about, and it also gives me more of content and more things to talk about. So, having explained myself thoroughly, on the topic of the Nashville shooting, I then last night watched the documentary, the latest one on Netflix, with the Waco compound deal and all the new released footage, audio tapes, interviews, everything. And that response from law enforcement, the A.T.F, the FBI, the federal government, military being involved, the way that went down, the way that was planned, are better actually expression of the lack of how it was planned. My take on that thing, before I had mixed feelings because I didn't have all the correct information, this documentary sheds a lot more light and angles on it. And there's no way, even being retired law enforcement, where I'm sure naturally going to have that bias, as they tell us in life, whether you really realize it or not, and you got to be cognizant of that, being a 100% pro law enforcement. But I'll be honest with you, there's no way I can watch that documentary and not walk away feeling that that was a complete slaughter of men, women, and children. The law enforcement, instead of using special weapons and tactics, keyword tactics, thinking outside of the box, doing something to prevent a confrontation, somehow nabbing this guy up, luring him out, grabbing him out of there, whatever. They basically did everything within their power to create a confrontation, first off, and a confrontation where there was men, women, and children in this place. And a place that was, of all places, more well-armed than the ATF and the FBI, HRT, SWAT guys. So you're talking about I don't even know where, other than a bunch of ATF guys, federal agents guys wanting to play Army and then getting their asses completely handed to them and literally retreating, literally having to call the Waco compound with David Koresh and then beg him to let them go retrieve their injured and dead guys. And then begging for a ceasefire to escape out of there. And that is something that's literally unheard of, because obviously when you're in a fight, you fight and you see it through. But there's no doubt about it. They got their asses completely handed to them. I mean, and the fact that they went and they just kept bringing in more helicopters and more guys, and then there was like Chinook helicopters flying in, the double rotor choppers, which was very mysterious. There was two flying around in the background and then leaving. I'm assuming those were probably, because there's other incidents and other topics became privy to in law enforcement or private investigations over the years, where the military has been brought in civilian scenarios, and they have the posse comitatus stating that the military is not to get involved on like American soil. Well, it's pretty clear when you go and get Abrams tanks from the military base, bring them in, and whether you have ATF guys driving them or military guys. I'm not a civil rights attorney, I'm not some human rights expert, but there's so many things just scarily wrong with that scenario, and a lot of ego was involved on the government's part. The ego became involved on law enforcement's part, and a whole lot of wanting to play military. If you want to do military, you sign up for the military and go to war. And if you want to be a sniper, if you want to be machine gunning people down, if you want to be thinking it's all cool and fun like the movies, these ATF guys had no idea what they were walking into. And if the very search warrant was for rooms full of automatic machine guns, M60s, 50 calibers, all of this, why would you go in there? You know, that is something that requires a much bigger, more planned out, well executed. And even then, the fact there was basically, they said there was about 82 to 100 I believe, men, women, children killed. And there was like 4 federal agents. That is literally, I can't even fathom that amount of numbers. To even lose 1 hostage is unacceptable by most standards. To lose 100 people, basically, for a better lack of, give or take a few people, numbers, whatever. We're talking about 100 people, 100 souls taken because they wanted this one guy. They could have somehow nabbed this guy up, and they would have defanged the snake, and the other people were all following him so much, right? It would have shut everything down. You might have had a few sympathizers in there, a few hardcore guys, but it would have broke the spine of the operation. And there was a lot of sick things going on in there. He was dating and marrying 9 and 10 and 14-year-old girls and having kids, and he was making up his own laws, his own religion, and saying the Bible said you can do all this stuff. Gets into numerous other topics, but the point is, at the end of the day, there was things that by most society standards nowadays in law, local, city, state, federal law, yes, he was blatantly creating his own compound, his own world. However, the trick at the end of the day was to, they should have found a way. They should have put all this time, money, energy, manpower, resources into nabbing him out of there somehow. And, they were literally, the word of the operation was leaked out to begin with. The news found out. The news literally was going down the road on the way there, ran into a postal carrier who the news brags to him was coming down the pipes. He literally belongs to the compound. He was just happened to be a U.S. postal worker on the side, goes back, tells everyone. The A.T.F. finds out about this and says, the other guy said, we need to cancel this right now, and this element of surprise is gone, which is your only advantage in that scenario, if there's any little advantage. And they lost that. And the director said, no, screw this, we're going in. Total ego, the ego is not your amigo, as Mark Wahlberg says. So that on the flip side, I don't know, man. It was just, and the fact that A.T.F. and the FBI came out later and was saying that they messed up big time is at least commendable, because a lot of times you don't even see that. But I really don't know how much their approach and strategy and training and technology and ways of handling this has changed, but I guarantee you it's had to have surely been changed. Unfortunately, too, in law enforcement, I actually see a lot of times where things very rarely are actually changed, and you see a lot of these things keep happening, just like the school shooting incidents that just keep happening. And I don't know on the federal level, but I can tell you on the local police level, as far as the day-to-day police operations and cops, the way they handle calls, the way they do stuff, from the time I started in 97 till now, I see cops still doing the same mistakes. The same kind of basic mistakes that basically get cops killed. I see them do it all the time. In real life, when I see them doing things, my friends that are cops telling me stories, when I see real police incidents happening later on, I literally see all the ways cop gets killed. Police officers get killed. And they're still doing the same things. And then you have to question yourself, what's going on? Of course, it's like, do these people really want to go home alive? And, some of these people become so complacent in any job. You can become complacent in any career. But if you do it in the police or military environment, you will get killed. It takes one call. I've almost been killed numerous times. I've lost numerous friends. And I can tell you, in your 8-hour shift, on that aspect, going to that one call and walking in the door, you can get killed. It may be your first day on the job, maybe 45 years into your career. But the one time you're not paying attention, that's what's so unnerving and stressful about that type of work. And sometimes there's stuff that can happen where it's out of your control, and you can be sniped out by someone and didn't see it coming. So even after being aware and being safe, but that gets into other topics. But as far as the Waco thing, staying on point with that, I've honestly never seen or heard of something like this. The only thing that rivals close to that is the Ruby Ridge incident, where again, I feel it was a very close parallel with the family that was doing their own thing, living off the grid, the cabin. Federal agents went out there half-cocked, again, got their asses kicked, shot the Ruby Ridge people's dog. The son or someone shot one of the agents, sniper shooting the wife through the window and killing her. Same exact scenario. Guys wanting to play military, wanting to play combat, wanting to play sniper, bring in the tanks, bring in the choppers. It's not the military. If you're going to do something like that, it's got to be outside of the box thinking. There's always another way. And it's not the guns. It's not always driving a tank through the front door and burning the place to the ground. So guys, you know, the Waco thing is sad, is a disgrace. Looks like something that would be done in a country like Russia or China. And in fact, I would think they have a little more finesse than that even. So, pretty bad stuff, guys.